It's about the school situation in Attawapiskat. The member for Parliament for the community, Charlie Angus, says the government has promised a new grade school for Attawapiskat for the past 8 years. Now the students are using portables and sharing space in the high school. Construction on the new school was supposed to start in the spring, but that project has been put on hold.
It's about all of the many First Nations children that have been denied fair treatment. It's about all of the many First Nation communities that are without schools. There are 40 First Nation communities in different parts of the country without a school. Attawapiskat is one of the 40. They came here very hopeful that the government would do the right thing and that they would commit to build a new school in Attawapiskat.
Hello everyone. My name is Shannon Stajan. I am from the Attawapiskat First Nation.
My name is Serena Gastajan. As you may have heard, I am Shannon's older sister. All across Canada, First Nation children go to school in crappy portables or in buildings that are condemned. This is the way things have been done for years in Canada, ever since the days of the residential schools. But the children in our community stood up and said, no, we aren't willing to sit at the back of the bus anymore.
As I've mentioned before, the capital plan's prioritized to take into consideration health and safety of Ontario's First Nations.
I want to tell you what it is like to never have the chance to feel excited about being educated. It's hard to feel pride when your classrooms are cold and mice run over our lunches.
So you say the health and safety is fine?
The capital plan's prioritized to take into consideration the health and safety of Ontario's First Nations.
What about the quality of education?
Well, education of Attawapiskat First Nation students is important to Indian affairs.
It's hard to feel you can have the chance to grow up somebody important when you don't have proper resources like libraries and science labs. That's why some of our students begin to give up in grade 4 and 5. They just stop going to school.
So what are the chances that they're going to get a new school? What will that take?
Well, again, we're working with the First Nation to do what we can.
I spoke at a national press conference and met with the Indian Affairs Minister. He promised me. He said we would have a school.
The old Minister, Indian Affairs, Andy Scott, promised her. He told her face to face that we would finally have a school.
The families of Attawapiskat are reeling from the fact that a school that they fought for 8 years, that was supposed to begin this spring, has been cancelled. Now, we've had 3 Indian Affairs ministers support this project, but this minister has told the community that First Nation schools are no longer a priority for his government. So my question is, why should the children of Attawapiskat have to put up with his fundamental disinterest in their health and well-being?
3 years later, Chuck Straw came along. He destroyed our project. We couldn't believe it. We were heartbroken.
Mr. Speaker, education is one of the keys for First Nation communities, as it is for all Canadians, as is economic development opportunities. The school in question on that particular reserve, Mr. Speaker, we've invested over $3 million into a school system there. We've also another $250,000 to help with some renovations that they wanted to have done. Mr. Speaker, there are no health concerns in that particular school. And of course, we'd all like to have more and newer schools, but Mr. Speaker, we continue to invest in schools across the country. It's a priority for this government.
We went all the way to Parliament Hill. When we met up with them, Chuck Straw told me he didn't have the money to build a school. I looked at the rich room he sat in with all his staff. I told him I wished I had a classroom that was as nice as his office he made in every day.
So schools are getting upgrades, they're getting built elsewhere?
Again, we review our capital budget on an ongoing basis to make sure health and safety concerns are a priority and taken care of.
Have you heard any health and safety concerns from the people of Attawapiskat?
It is true about the gas smell. because my brother LJ gets sick when he goes to school. He goes to school beside the old J.R. Nagaji school. The government doesn't believe we have problems in our community. It feels like they don't care about the children of Attawapiskat. We are Canadians, and also we were promised 3 times that we would get a new school. So what's going to happen now? Miigwech.
There are no health concerns in that particular school.
Again, the capital budget's reviewed on an ongoing basis to make sure the health and safety concerns are a priority and taken care of.
There are no health concerns in that particular school.
And as I've mentioned before, the capital plan's prioritized to take into consideration health and safety of Ontario's First Nations.
So you say the health and safety is fine. What I want to know is, though, what have you heard from the people of Attawapiskat?
I looked at them straight in the eyes and said, oh, we're not going to quit. We're not going to give up.
Well, again, I can't speak for the people of Attawapiskat.
No, but you can speak for what you have heard from the people.
Well, again, I can't speak for the people of Attawapiskat. I can tell you we're working with the community to deal with the issue.
Have you heard anything from them?
We want to send a message to Minister Straw and everybody in the government. We are not going to give up.
Well, there's always communications back and forth.
So what have you heard?
Basis, and we're working with the community to deal with the school.
What have you heard from them?
I can't speak for them.
I'm not asking you to speak
with them,
for
are
them.
in contact with the band, and we're working with them on the issue.
I want to know what went into your ears, what you heard from them.
I can't speak for First Nations individuals.
But you can speak for yourself and what you heard.
And I'm telling you that we're in contact with the First Nation, and we're working with them to deal with the situation.
We are not going to give up.